I signed the papers that ended my twin sister's career with a flick of my wrist, the ink bleeding like a fresh wound on the crisp white sheet. It was supposed to be quick, clinical, like firing any other mid-level accountant who'd crossed the line, but staring into Leah's eyes, those carbon copies of my own Hazel Flex, made it feel like I was carving out my own heart. And just when I thought the betrayal cut deep enough, I uncovered the $12 million she'd siphoned off right under my nose, a secret so brazen it could topple the empire we'd both clawed our way into. The fluorescent hum of the HR office in our Midtown Manhattan tower buzzed like a swarm of angry hornets as I slid the folder across the desk. Leah didn't flinch. She just sat there, legs crossed in that power suit she always wore a size too tight, like she was daring the world to notice her curves before her confidence. "You gonna say it, Mia? Or just let the bureaucracy do the dirty work?" Her voice was silk over steel, the same Georgia drawl we'd picked up from Mom before she ditched us for a trailer park in Savannah. I swallowed hard, the words sticking like gum on hot asphalt. "Leah, effective immediately, your employment with Sterling Global is terminated for cause. Violations of company policy, including unauthorized access to financial systems." It sounded robotic, rehearsed from the script HR had shoved at me that morning. But inside, it was a gut punch. We'd shared cribs, secrets, even boyfriends back in our wild college days at NYU. Now here I was, playing executioner because the big man upstairs, our CEO, Harlan Voss, had whispered in my ear like some corporate godfather. Harlan had pulled me into his corner office the day before, all glass walls and Eames chairs overlooking the Hudson like he owned the damn river. "Mia, your family here," he'd said, leaning back in his leather throne, his silver cufflinks glinting under the recessed lights. At 52, Harlan was the picture of Wall Street polish, salt and pepper hair, a jawline that could cut diamonds, and eyes that promised promotions while plotting your downfall. I'd idolized him since day one, 6 years ago when I started as a junior analyst, and he personally fast-tracked me to VP of Finance. But family looks after family. Your sister's been problematic. Skimming edges, fudging numbers. I need you to handle it quietly. Fire her, and we'll pretend it never happened. I nodded like a bobblehead, loyalty blinding me to the red flags waving in my face. Leah and I were the dynamic duo of Sterling, twins who finished each other's spreadsheets, covered for each other's late nights at dive bars in the East Village. She was the wild one, the charmer who schmoozed clients over martinis at the Palm. I was the steady hand, the one who balanced the books while she balanced on the edge. But embezzlement? That wasn't her. Or so I'd thought. After the meeting, I escorted her out like a criminal in cuffs. Well, not really, but the security badge deactivation felt close enough. We rode the elevator down in silence, the mirrored walls reflecting our identical ponytails, our matching pearl earrings from Grandma's estate. "This is bullshit, Mia," she finally hissed as the doors dinged open to the lobby. "Harlan's playing you. You know that, right?" I wanted to believe her, God, I did. But the audit trail HR had shown me, sloppy transfers from vendor accounts to offshore shells, pointed straight to her login. $200,000 here, $150,000 there. Petty cash compared to what I'd find later, but enough to damn her. She grabbed my arm at the revolving doors, nails digging in like talons. "Call me tonight. We'll fix this." Then she was gone, melting into the pedestrian crush on 42nd Street, her heels clicking like gunfire on the sidewalk. I stood there, rain starting to spit from the November sky, wondering if I'd just signed away the only blood tie I'd left. Back at my desk, the office felt hollow. Sterling Global was a beast, $2 billion in assets under management, specializing in hedge funds for tech startups. We occupied 3 floors of One Pen One, all open-plan desks and ping-pong tables to lure in the millennials. But beneath the foosball and free kombucha, it was cutthroat. Bonuses tied to performance, whispers of layoffs after every quarterly miss. I'd thrived here, rising fast because I didn't make waves.
"Leah?"
She surfed them, always one deal away from glory or ruin. That night, alone in my one-bedroom in Hell's Kitchen with a bottle of Napa Valley Cabernet, I couldn't shake her words. "Harlan's playing you. So I cracked open my laptop, the one with admin privileges he'd granted me last quarter as a trust exercise. A quick dive into the core ledger, nothing. Clean as a whistle. But something nagged. Why fire her so fast? No investigation, no second chances. Unusual for Harlan, who loved his due diligence. Deeper I went, cross-referencing her transactions against the master accounts. That's when the first anomaly popped. A series of consulting fees to a shell company called Twin Peaks Advisors. $12 million over 2 years, funneled through legitimate channels. Wire transfers disguised as vendor payments for market analysis. Hidden in plain sight, buried in the quarterly reports I'd signed off on myself. My stomach dropped like the express elevator. Leah's initials were all over the approvals, but the beneficiary? Not her personal account. It routed to a Cayman trust, linked to Harlan Voss. Holy shit. The betrayal hit like a freight train. My twin hadn't just stolen. She'd been the patsy. Harlan had used her, used us, to cook the books, padding his personal nest egg while blaming the rogue employee. And I'd pulled the trigger, firing her to cover his ass. Rage boiled up, hot and acidic, mixing with the wine. I slammed the laptop shut, grabbed my coat, and headed out into the neon-drenched night. If this was war, I was arming up. The next morning, I played it cool. Coffee run for the team, small talk about the Knicks' latest loss. But my mind was a storm. How deep did this go? Harlan's office was off-limits without an invite, but I had a master key from the finance overhaul last summer. Slipping in during lunch, heart pounding like a bass drum, I rifled his desk drawers. Jackpot. A burner phone, encrypted, with text to an unknown number. Leah knows too much. Handle it. Dated a week ago. And below that, a folder labeled contingency. Blueprints for a merger with a rival firm, one that would tank if the fraud leaked. So Leah wasn't the villain. She was the whistleblower. She'd confronted him, threatened to go public, and he'd flipped the script, framing her to silence the threat. The $12 million? His slush fund for bribing regulators, stashing kickbacks from shady VC deals. I'd borne the weight unknowingly, signing those reports, defending her in meetings when discrepancies arose. My career, my reputation, collateral damage in his game. I needed proof. Solid, courtroom proof. Texting Leah from a blocked number. Meet me. Neutral ground. Truth time. I set it for a diner in Chelsea, the kind with vinyl booths and bottomless Joe. She showed, wary, sliding into the seat across from me with dark circles under her eyes that matched mine. You believe me now? I slid over a printout of the ledger excerpts.
This.
Explain. Her story tumbled out like a confessional. Harlan had recruited her 2 years back, promising equity if she smoothed some numbers. At first, small stuff, rounding up expense reports. Then bigger, diverting funds to his personal projects. When she balked, he threatened exposure, saying she'd take the fall as the expendable twin. She'd hidden it to protect me, routing everything through proxies so it looked like her solo op. I was buying time, Mia. Gathering evidence. But he moved first. Tears stung as the pieces clicked. Deep betrayal. Yeah, from Harlan, the mentor who'd groomed me like a daughter. But Leah? She'd carried the sin alone, letting me shine while she rotted in the shadows. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered, voice cracking over the clatter of plates. Because you're the good one. The one who made it without shortcuts. She reached across, our fingers lacing like when we were kids hiding from Dad's rages.
But now?
We end him. Revenge crystallized in that greasy spoon, born of shared blood and shattered trust. Not petty sabotage, something surgical, American dream style. Expose the king, watch his castle burn. But Harlan was no fool. He had layers of lawyers, bored cronies, even that smarmy PR guy who spun scandals into growth opportunities. We'd need to be ghosts, striking from the dark. Step 1. Fortify our intel. Over the next week, we worked in tandem, me from inside Sterling, her from a laptop in a Queen's coffee shop. I planted trackers on his emails, subtle scripts I'd coded in my dorm days, pinging her phone with every keystroke. She hit patered. Recordings from a hidden app on her old work phone. Harlan boasting to a golf buddy about milking the cow dry before the merger. $12 million was just the tip. He'd bled $50 million total, propping up failing funds with investor cash. But paranoia crept in. Late-night calls where Leah's voice trembled. "He's watching, Mia. I feel it." I did too. Shadows in my periphery at the office. A car idling too long outside my building. Harlan called me in for a check-in, his smile tighter than a noose. "Heard from your sister? Loose ends can unravel everything." I lied smooth, blaming the Cabernet for my flush, but inside I was screaming. The plan coalesced. Leak selectively. Not to the feds, that was too clean, too merciful. To the board first, anonymous drops of the ledgers and recordings, timed for the quarterly review. Then to the street, tip off Bloomberg, let the shorts circle like sharks. Controversial? Hell yes. We'd torch innocents, laid off analysts, jittery clients. But Harlan's empire was built on their backs. Poetic justice. As the deadline loomed, tension coiled like a spring. We met in Central Park one foggy dawn, benches slick with dew, joggers blurring past like extras in our noir flick. "What if it backfires?" Leah asked, twisting her scarf. "He sues, we go down together. Then we go down swinging." I meant it. Sisters against the machine. But Harlan was steps ahead, always the chameleon. That afternoon, my inbox pinged. A promotion offer. VP to CFO. Effective post-merger. "Your loyalty's paying off, Mia," his note read. A bribe or a trap? I forwarded it to Leah, fingers flying. Her reply, "Take it. Get closer." So I did, stepping into the lion's den with a smile and a hidden recorder in my bra. Meetings blurred, handshakes with venture capitalists from Sand Hill Road, lunches at Le Bernardin where deals were sealed over foie gras. Harlan confided more, his mask slipping. "This industry's a jungle, kid. Eat or be eaten." He even joked about Leah, that wildcat owed me. Unaware, I was taping every word. The flip came midweek.
Leah texted, "Urge. Meet now."
I bailed on a client call, racing to her spot. She was pacing a motel room off Times Square, neon bleeding through the blinds. "He's onto us. Hired PIs. Found my safe deposit box." The evidence, hard drives, printouts, was scattered on the bed like confetti from hell. But worse, a photo of me, snapped leaving the park. "We accelerate. Tonight." Heart slamming, we bundled it all, drove to a Kinko's in Jersey, neutral turf. Copies made, envelopes sealed. Drop scheduled, board Dropbox at midnight, Bloomberg tip line at dawn. As we parted, she hugged me fierce. "Love you, twin. Whatever happens." I didn't sleep. Dawn broke gray over the skyline, coffee bitter on my tongue. By 9 a.m., the office was electric. Whispers, screens flickering with alerts. Harlan's door flew open, face ashen. "Mia. My office. Now." He paced like a caged panther, tie askew. "What the hell is this?" He flung a tablet at me. Leaked memos, my name nowhere, but the recordings crystal clear. "Someone's gunning for me. You hear anything?" I feigned shock, but my pulse thrummed. "Harlan, if it's fraud." "Trail off. Let him fill the silence." He stopped, eyes narrowing. The flip, vulnerability, then venom. It was all for the company. Stabilizing funds, buying time for the merger. Leah knew. Hell, she helped orchestrate half of it. Lie, but laced with truth. "I protected you, Mia. From the mess she made." Protected? The word ignited me. By making me fire her? Covering your tracks? His laugh was hollow. "You think you're clean? Those reports you signed? Accomplice territory. Checkmate." I'd borne the mistake, all right, blindly initialing his crimes. Sirens wailed distant, reporters massing downstairs. The board had convened emergency session. Stock dipped 15% pre-market. Harlan's empire cracking. But the real storm brewed inside me. Leah's final text buzzed. "It's done. We're free. Or were we?" The boardroom smelled of stale coffee and desperation, mahogany table scarred from years of backroom deals. Harlan stood at the head, flanked by his cronies, silver-haired lawyers in Brioni suits, their faces masks of calculated calm. I sat to his right, the new interim CFO, my promotion a noose disguised as a laurel. Across the table, the board chair, Evelyn Hart, a steel magnolia from Atlanta with pearls that could choke a man, tapped her Montblanc pen like a gavel. Mr. Voss, explain the discrepancies. $12 million doesn't vanish into thin air. Harlan launched into spin mode, voice steady as a TED Talk. A targeted smear, Evelyn. Disgruntled ex-employee. Leah Hargrove, Mia's sister. She accessed restricted files before termination. He shot me a glance, expectant. Play along or burn. I cleared my throat, the room's eyes pinning me like specimens. It's true. Leah had privileges I couldn't revoke fast enough. But Harlan flagged it early. That's why the swift action. Lies, each one a brick in the wall hiding his rot. My recorder hummed silent in my pocket, capturing the theater. Murmurs rippled. Evelyn leaned forward, her drawl cutting like kudzu. And the recordings? That your voice, Harlan, talking, milking the cow. He waved it off. Deep fake.
Ay bullshit.
We're suing the pants off whoever dropped this. Confidence, pure Harlan, flipped from prey to predator in a heartbeat. But sweat beaded his temples, betraying the crack. The meeting dragged, votes tallied. Investigation pending, Harlan sidelined but not ousted. For now, Evelyn added, eyes on me. Mia, your point on the audit. Clean house. Outside, the hall was a gauntlet. Analysts averting gazes, the intern who'd crushed on Leah shooting me pity.
My phone vibrated. Leah.
Bloomberg running lead.
He's toast. Dinner?
Relief flooded, sharp as adrenaline crash. We met at our old haunt, a speakeasy off Bleecker with velvet curtains and jazz that wrapped around her sins. She was already 3 whiskeys in, cheeks flushed, that triumphant grin splitting her face. To us. The Hargrove sisters, slayers of dragons. We clinked glasses, the amber liquid burning sweet. For the first time in weeks, laughter bubbled, reminiscing about prom nights in Macon, Georgia, sneaking Boone's farm behind the bleachers, the day we landed Sterling internships, toasting with dorm bubbly. You were always the shield, I said, squeezing her hand. Taking hits for me. She shrugged, but her eyes glistened.
Twins, Mia.
Half the hits, double the payback. We plotted next moves over oysters. Lawyer up, anonymous sources for the Times follow-up. Harlan would crumble, us rising from the ash. But dawn brought the twist, the one that shattered the fairy tale. My inbox exploded. Internal memo from Evelyn. Audit suspended. New directive. Full integration with Voss Vision merger.
What?
Harlan's pet project, the acquisition that had ballooned the fraud. And CC'd. A photo attachment. Me and Leah, last night, time-stamped outside the speakeasy. Someone tailed us. Panic clawed. I dialed Leah, no answer. Raced to her queen's walk-up, door ajar. Inside, chaos. Drawers ransacked, her laptop gone. A note on the fridge, scrawled in Sharpie. You think you can bury me? I own you both.
Ash.
He'd flipped again. Not sidelined, counterattacking. The photo? Leverage. But how? I tore through her papers, finding a hidden folder. Emails from Leah to Harlan, dated months back. I can't keep covering. End it. Covering? She'd known longer than she let on. Dipped deeper to buy silence. Not just Patsy, partner until conscience kicked in. Betrayal's knife twisted deeper, carving doubt. Had she played me too? The $12 million her cut? No, the trails led to him. But these mails. Complicit. My twin, my mirror, cracked. Harlan's call came as I sat amid the wreckage, speakerphone echoing his silk threat. Mia, let's chat. Your sisters. Indisposed. But we can fix this. Accept the CFO gig permanent, bury the audit. Or the feds get the full file, your signatures included. The decision loomed, controversial as a loaded gun. Save her, damn myself? Or expose all? Risk us both? I chose the dark path. Meet me. Alone. One pen, roof access. Sunset. The tower's penthouse deck was a glass airy, wind whipping off the East River, city lights winking like conspirators. Harlan arrived punctual, topcoat billowing, a bottle of Macallan swinging from his fist. Peace offering, he grinned, popping the cork. To new beginnings. I took a swig, fire steadying nerves. Where's Leah? Safe. Motivated. His eyes scanned me, calculating. She's always been the weak link. You? Steal. Join me fully, cause, after the merger. We rewrite the narrative. Temptation flickered. Power, the penthouse life. But rage overrode. You used us. Framed her to hide your greed. He laughed, low and bitter. Greed? This city's built on it. I gave you everything, promotions, stability.
Leah?
She begged for scraps, then bit the hand. Flip. Victim now. Me the ungrateful. Sign this. He slid a NDA, thick as a Bible. Or she sings from a cell. The wind howled, mirroring the storm in my chest. Below, taxis crawled like ants, oblivious. I thought of Mom's letters, yellowed in my drawer. Protect each other, girls. Blood's thicker, but blood lied. My hand dipped to my pocket, not the recorder, but the USB with everything, his texts, ledgers, her emails. One condition. Admit it. On tape. He smirked, leaning on the railing. For old times? The device word, his confession spilling, $50 total, bribes to senators, Leah's role, minimal but knowing.
Gotcha.
Then the real flip, his hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. Enough games. He yanked the drive, eyes wild. Struggle ensued, twisting, shoving, me in heels, him in loafers. The bottle shattered on concrete, shards glinting. He lunged, I dodged, elbow cracking his jaw. He staggered back, teetering on the ledge.
Time slowed.
His face, fear, then fury. You bitch. After all wind gust, foot slips. He plummeted, a scream cut short by the void. Sirens wailed minutes later. I stood frozen, glass in hand, the drive clutched like a talisman. No witnesses up top, security cams malfunctioned from my earlier hack. Harlan Voss, suicide, despondency over scandal. Leah emerged days later, kidnapped, story unraveling under questioning. We hugged in the precinct, but the warmth was gone. Cracks spiderwebbing our bond. The merger tanked, Sterling salvaged under my interim reign. Promotions poured in, headlines hailed me the fixer. But at night, in my upgraded corner office, ghosts whispered. Did I push? Or save? Leah's emails burned in my drawer, her complicity a secret I buried deeper than his body. We'd won, but victory tasted like ash, no heroes, just survivors in the American grind. And as the city thrummed below, I wondered if the revenge had claimed us all. The fallout from Harlan's suicide hit like a Category 5 through Sterling's veins. By week's end, the SEC swarmed our floors, agents in off-the-rack suits rifling drawers while Bloomberg drones buzzed for quotes. I played the grieving protege, tear-streaked pressers, vows to uphold integrity, but inside, it was a victory lap laced with vertigo. $12 million clawed back from his trusts, funneled to restitution funds. Leah walked free, charges dropped as insufficient evidence, her motel tale spun into victimhood. We were golden, twins reunited in the tabloids, Hargrove sisters topple tycoon. Publicly, yeah. Privately, fractures widened. Our first celebratory dinner at Per Se was a minefield, sommelier pouring 82 Bordeaux, plates of uni that tasted like regret. To fresh starts, Leah toasted, but her eyes darted, scanning for phantoms. Mine too. Harlan's death certificate listed accidental fall, coroner ruling out foul play.
Clean.
But dreams plagued me, his fingers clawing air, my shove replaying in slow-mo. You're too quiet, she said, fork spearing foie.
Spiel.
I sipped, The wine's tannin biting. Those emails.
To him.
You knew about the bribes months before. Her fork clattered. Color drained, leaving her pale as the linen. Mia, it was leverage. I was building a case. Leverage? You initialed transfers. $2 million to his PAC last election cycle. I dug deeper post-roof, forensic accounting my new kink. Her login, her approvals. Not victim, accomplice, until the worm turned. She leaned in, voice a hiss over the clink of silverware. I was trapped. He had dirt, our college scam, remember? Falsifying transcripts for scholarships. The ghost of NYU pranks, wild and broke, forging docs to snag grants. Harmless then, felony now. He dangled it. Play ball or jail. Sympathy warred with fury. I'd borne mistakes before, covering her bar tabs, her bad dates. But this? Corporate cancer. Why me? Why frame it all on you, then let me fire you like some disposable? Tears welled, smudging her mascara. To wake you up. You were his golden girl, blind to the slime. I took the hits so you'd see. Noble or manipulation. The line blurred, our twin telepathy fraying. We parted awkward, air kisses masking the rift. Back home, my Hell's Kitchen nest felt cavernous, upgraded to a 2-bed in Tribeca on the promotion bump, but echoes mocked. I pored over the files again, hunting absolution. Harlan's burner logs, text to Leah post-confrontation. Loose lip sync ships. Or twins. Thread explicit. She'd resisted, but not clean. The antagonist in this wasn't just him. It was us. Mirrors reflecting flaws. Leah's scheming, my denial. Controversial choices piled. Her silence, my signatures. The roof's fatal slip. No saints in the skyline. Work swallowed the doubt. As interim CFO, I steered Sterling through the storm. Layoffs mercifully swift. 200 heads rolled, but with severance packages fat as Harlan's ego. Clients stuck, lured by my transparency pledge. Evelyn Hart pulled strings from the board, her Atlanta drawl a lifeline in war rooms. You're a natural, Mia. Voss's shadow without the sleaze. But shadows lingered. Anonymous tips flooded my desk. Whistleblowers claiming deeper rot, funds Harlan loaned to Russian oligarchs via Leah's shells. I quashed them, decisions that nod, protect the firm, or purge total. Each veto felt like complicity, polarizing my gut. Hero or hypocrite? Leah vanished into consulting, a vague gig in Boston she wouldn't detail. Calls thinned. Busy with clients, her laugh forced. I flew up once, Red Sox game tickets as peace offering. Fenway's green monster loomed as we scarfed Fenway Franks, but tension hummed louder than the crowd. Spill the reel, I pressed during the 7th inning stretch. This gig, it's not clean, is it? She stared at the field, popcorn forgotten. It's survival. Harlan's network? Vipers everywhere.
I'm
negotiating exits. Vague, loaded. Later, a Google deep dive revealed her firm. Shell for off-books trades, whispers of insider tips. Echoes of our past. Betrayal's echo chamber amplified. Had revenge warped her? Or me, bearing leads to climb higher? The climax brewed, not in boardrooms, but blood. A late-night call, her voice slurry.
Mia.
Trouble.
Come now.
I caught the Acela at dawn. Nerves electric. Her back bay loft was fortress. Deadbolts. Blinds drawn. Inside. Disarray again, but deliberate. Suitcases half-packed, a Glock on the coffee table. Legal in mass, illegal in my world. They're coming, she slurred, pill bottle rattling. Harlan's ghosts. Bored cronies who knew. Paranoia or truth. I pocketed the gun. Brewed coffee black.
Who?
Evelyn. She's in it, knew about the slush. Took cuts for votes. Bombshell. Our savior, tainted. Leah waved a thumb drive.
Proof.
Her emails, payoffs. My world tilted. Evelyn, the mentor who'd crowned me? The flip, everyone schemed, faces interchangeable. Why not expose sooner? Because it implicates you too. Those audits you greenlit? Her too. Checkmate again. I'd borne the collective sin, signatures a chain linking us all. We hatched the endgame that night, whiskey-fueled, full leak. Not selective, total apocalypse. Drive to WikiLeaks-style drop, anonymized via Tor. Burn it down, Liar urged, eyes fever-bright. No more half measures. But dawn brought sobriety's regret. Evelyn called as I boarded back to Penn Station. Mia, we need to talk. Your sister's stirring pots. Tone maternal, laced with steel. Confrontation brewed. I met her at the Four Seasons, tea service in the garden room. Ironic oasis amid the concrete jungle. She arrived crisp, Chanel suit, but lines etched deeper. I know about the drive. And Harlan. Confession or trap? Then you know he used us all. She nodded, stirring lemon. He was poison. But I enabled. For the greater good, jobs, growth. Controversial calculus. Corporate maternalism justifying graft. Destroy it and sterling folds. Thousands unemployed. Christmas in shelters. Polarization peaked. Her plea, mercy for the machine. Mine, justice, scorched earth. Leah's texts buzzed insistent. Leak now. Don't waver. I chose.
Delay.
Pocketed the drive. Smiled at Evelyn. Give me time. Betrayal anew. Not Harlan's, but self-inflicted. Protecting the beast that devoured us. Leah exploded when I confessed, voicemail venom. You're just like him. Climbing on my back. Radio silence followed. Weeks of it. Sterling stabilized under my hand. Merger salvaged with a white knight investor. Bonuses reinstated. Headlines, Mia Hargrove, savior of Sterling. But victory hollowed. Nights, I paced Tribeca floors, drive burning in my safe. Leak it, shatter illusions, unemployed hordes, my fall. Bury it, perpetuate the cycle. The twist loomed. Leah's suicide note, emailed anonymous. Couldn't live with the lies. Forgive me.
Leah.
Forged or real? Cops ruled overdose. Pills from her bathroom. I flew north, gut roiling. Loft empty, save a letter. You chose them over us. Blood's not enough. Your twin. Grief crashed, raw as the roof wind. Had she jumped or vanished? Whispers. Witness protection, new life. Or my delay pushed her over. The end?
Nota idibao.
I leaked partial. Evelyn's cuts, sparing the firm. Resigned as CFO, started a consultancy. Ethics in finance.
Leah?
A ghost, sightings in Miami dives, or just wishful. Debate rages in my head. Hero, villain, or fool. Revenge's price. Mirrors shattered. Reflections lost. In America's grind, no one's clean, just survivors, picking shards. Months blurred into a haze of reinvention, the kind where success feels like sand slipping through fists. My consultancy, Hargrove Integrity Advisors, took off, irony thick as fog off the Potomac. Blue-chip clients from D.C. to Dallas, paying six figures to audit their souls, ensuring no Harlan Voss lurked in their ledgers. TEDx invites piled up. Forbes dubbed me the twin who triumphed. But every byline twisted the knife, following her sister's tragic passing.
Leah.
The word alone conjured ghosts. Official story. Accidental OD. Empty Xanax bottle in her loft. No note beyond that email forgery I'd traced to a VPN in Toronto. Cops closed it quick. Suicide epidemic among finance burnouts, they said. But I knew better. Her last real text pre-silence. If I disappear, look under the floorboards. Cryptic twin code from childhood, hide and seek. I'd torn up her loft post-autopsy, prying planks in the dead of night. Jackpot, a hidden compartment, USBs galore, backups of the full rot. Not just Evelyn's payoffs, but a web. Senators on retainers, oligarch wires funneled through sterling shells. And a video. Leah, time-stamped week before death, facing camera in that motel mirror. Mia, if you're seeing this, I faked it. Harlan's network runs deep. Death, threats, tales. I'm going dark. Use this to finish what we started. But forgive me for the lies. I covered for you too, those NYU forgeries. I took the heat, expunged your record. Blood debts paid. Love always. Twist upon twist. She'd borne my sins, just as I'd unknowingly shoulder hers. The email note. Her misdirection buying time. Alive out there, perhaps sipping pina coladas in Key West, or hunkered in witness protection under a new name. The relief warred with rage. Why ghost me? Trust shattered, one flip too many. Evelyn's reckoning came swift after the partial leak. Wall Street Journal expose, my anonymous feed, board chairs, kickbacks exposed. She resigned in disgrace, pearls sold at auction to cover fines. Sterling? Wounded but walking, new CEO, a bland suit from Goldman, all compliance memos and DI trainings. My resignation payout bought the Tribeca pad outright, freedom's yoke lighter than expected. But the UM lingered, tension coiling in quiet moments. Dreams of the roof replayed. Harlan's fall, my hand outstretched or pushing. Therapy sessions in Soho unpacked it. Ambiguous loss, the shrink called Leah's death. Mourning the living. Controversial? Hell, the whole saga screamed debate fodder. Podcasts dissected it. Was Mia Hargrove avenger or accomplice? Listeners split. Some hailed vigilante justice. Others decried the collateral, laid off families, market jitters costing billions. I leaned into the fray. Guest spots on CNBC, voice steady over ticker crawls. Corporate America's a coliseum. I'd say, drawl creeping in from mom's genes. Gladiators eat or get eaten. I chose to starve the lions. Applause lines but hollow. Awe fair, doubt nod. Had I? Or fed them scraps, perpetuating the feast? The climax I'd dodged brewed in summer swelter. A client gig in D.C., forensic dive into a think tank's books, uncover a familiar shell. Twin Peaks advisors, dormant but linked to a fresh player. Russian IP traces, funds rerouted to Evelyn's defense fund? She'd flipped post-resignation, lawyering up with oligarch cash, scheming a comeback via political PACs. Rage reignited, dark and tensile. Leah's video echoed. Finish it. I called in favors. Old Sterling contacts, a hacker buddy from NYU days. Trace the flow, $5 million laundered through the tank, Evelyn's fingerprints smudged but there. Confrontation called, not roof dramatic but surgical. We met in a Georgetown brownstone. Her consultancy lair, bookshelves of leather tomes, a decanter of scotch glinting like false teeth. She poured without asking, hand steady despite the lines carving her face deeper.
Mia.
The prodigal avenger returns. No games, Evelyn. The shell. Oligarch money. You're rebuilding his empire. Her laugh tinkled, brittle as spun sugar. Empire? Survival, darling. Washington runs on it, lobbyists, donations. Harlan understood. You could too. The flip, mentor reborn, tempting with insider whispers. Join my firm. Advise on ethics. We'd clean it together. Polarization pure. Her vision, gray area governance. Mine, scorched earth purity. Or what? Leak again? You'd tank allies, senators who greenlight jobs, infrastructure. Jobs built on lies?
No.
But doubt flickered. Thousands employed via those PACs, roads paved, schools funded. Controversial calculus, American as apple pie. Ends justify means? I slid the traces across her desk. End it. Shut the shell. Or, I drop the full drive. Leah's legacy. Her eyes sharpened at the name. Your sister. Tragic. But she was always the firebrand. You?
The ice.
Don't melt for ghosts. Ice cracked.
She's alive.
And watching. Bluff, but it landed. Evelyn paled, then sighed.
Fine.
Wires reversed by dawn. She signed the addendum, closing the loop. No cops, no headlines, just quiet dissolution. Mercy, or cowardice. Back in New York, autumn leaves carpeting Central Park like confetti from a funeral, I pondered the end. No by kitsch finale, no triumphant coda. Leah surfaced sporadically, burner emails, cryptic. Proud of you. Key West Sunset's killer. Alive, free, but distant. Our bond? Repaired in scars. Twin flames flickering separate. The final twist? A package arrived, no return. Harlan's cufflinks, engraved "Eat or be eaten," wrapped in a note, from L. For the collection. She'd swiped them from his effects, a talisman. Or warning. I hung them in my office, beside the Emmy for that CNBC special, debate-sparking hour on ethics in the age of Voss. Viewers still argue, right or wrong. No absolutes, just shades. In the end, revenge wasn't catharsis. It was evolution. Me, Leah. Even Evelyn's ghost flipped and flopped through the dark, emerging bent but unbroken. America's pulse. Tense eternally controversial. And in that grind, I found my rhythm. Not victim, not villain, but the steady hand turning the wheel. Blood debts paid.
For now.